Well, we'll share. So master serves them and all. They all have their meal. Now what happens after the meal is over and all that, master calls the man closer to him and says, you remember as a youngster what transpired there in the night after the meal? Just before you all parted, what did I do? I take you aside. Have you told your wife what I was saying? Did you? No. First and foremost, I'm sorry. I jumped one other thought. So then after the meal was over, they were called and says, now what happened? Come on, tell me. So each one hesitated. And the other one, the mother spoke. We have a daughter. Oh, you have a daughter too. I'm very happy. What happened? You didn't bring her? She is the cause of all our misery. She is the cause of your misery. What? Is there any children after that? No other children. What happened? What's the reason why she is cause of your misery? What happened? So then she said that this is how we brought her up, you see. We pampered her and we loved her. We loved her so much and all that. But there was no restriction on her, and we don't know. He used to go for work. I used to do my best to control her, but she wouldn't listen, and she fell into bad company and all that. And now she is conducting a brothel herself. She is a prostitute. What? She's a prostitute? For such a family? What happened with, what will the people say? What does the community say? That is the ailment. What the community says. Oh. Then master shows his true colors. He is very stern with the man. He says, have you spoken to that? Do you remember what happened in the evening when we parted? And what happened just before you dragged my daughter away from me? Did you tell what had happened? Why did you do it? Why did you call me a scoundrel? Why did you call me a bluff? And why did you call me that... all the names that you gave, abused me? Why? You should have told. Have you told? Has he told you? He's asking the woman. He says, no, he didn't speak a word about it. Tell them now. Come on. Dare to tell them now. What happened? Why did you call me names? He's very irate about it all. My daughter, for 20 long years, I had blessed you both. I wanted to intercede. I wanted to do away with what you were destined. But you called me names. Tell, come on now, come on, tell what had happened. So what he tells now, very hesitantly says, Master, I don't know anything about it, but I know one thing, I didn't like what you said to me. I don't know the purpose why. Say, why? Come on, speak out, what happened? Says, you took hold of me, led me aside, and whispered into my ears that now I have married. Today is my night with the woman, so I shouldn't spend the nights for some time with my wife. But you started giving me some money of your own to spend the nights with the prostitutes. And I was irate. I lost my temper. I said, what are you meaning by this? A person like me, who is a straight person, who doesn't want to live like that, and you are advising us not to be with my wife in the night and all that? Because you thought of yourself to be too great, and you thought that what you wanted to do was the right thing. So this is the result of it. The seed that had to be dropped elsewhere. My daughter is unnecessarily bothered by it. It had that. It had to happen. I wanted it, that it should be thrown out somewhere, where it belonged to. But what can I do? I tried to help you, and you thought that I was your enemy, or I wanted to break your marriage. I had some vested interest in this woman, you thought. No, it wasn't. It was to help you both, to live a life together. Well, it's not too late. Now you realize what it is. I never gave a thought to it. Says, yeah, that was the thought behind it. That was what was to happen. Whatever has happened, I have blessed you. What I want you to do is to leave this town and go elsewhere and establish yourself and live. And your business is continuing there. Have nothing to worry about it. Live a happy life. Remember me. And remember that I love you both. That's how they went. And they lived happily ever after. He picked up in health, became strong, stronger than Jeff. But this is a true story, mind you. What brought them is, in their sheer desperation, is the life of the saints. Again to that. Otherwise what? How can there be anything clear? How can the dilemma be cleared, you see? So if the wife, the woman in the house has the right thinking, or the man, there is that little imbalance has to be balanced, that's all. One has to go to that extent. All the bitterness you see can be overcome in no time. That is. Honey is good, it's honey, bitter, and then the best of the sweet. Sweetness has to be tasted only after tasting the bitter side of it. That's how it is. It had happened in life. You see that we know better. How is it possible for a master to say like this, you see? Master, perfect master, always for our ultimate good, whatever they tell us. That's what Baba says that. The Hafiz, not Baba, Hafiz has said that. It's our own incapacity to understand him that we think that he's wrong. Okay. Provided the master is perfect, remember that.
Were there instances like that among the Mandali, that the Mandali were told things by Baba that shocked them and totally reversed their values?
Yeah. It is so. But if we accept, well, the result is happy result. He told me on my wedding night, he told me, you heard my story. I said, yeah, okay, whatever you decide. Yeah. So it's nice. Suppose if I had led a married life, I would have been like one of the families in the world. Yeah. I don't know what the consequences would have been. You want to hear a story about certain things that went contrary to a person, you see, in Baba's life? You haven't heard of it.
I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking.
About the businessman who came to him for God realization, when Baba told him 3 orders that he gave.
No.
All right. Have you got enough tape for it?
Yeah, I just started a new one.
What is the time? So what had happened is, this is another
Is this a
story.
novel?
It's a novel. Yeah. It is it's like this. This happened years ago, centuries ago, and this happened only a few years ago. Yeah, it happened in life. What had happened is that there used to come to Baba a certain person, bachelor, Brahmin, by caste. Brahmin, you know what Brahmin means? Yeah, the top in casteism. The one who would want...
Look down on the others.
Look down upon others, and he is to be the purest of the pure, and he is priest. Your type. Yeah. So, and they wouldn't want to touch meat or fish or fowl, not even beetroots, mind you. They remind them of liver and all that, not even tomatoes. Anything red, fleshy is flesh. Onions also they don't, because of the passions that are incited. Garlic they wouldn't want to eat. Yeah, it's all this. Not even pulses, what do you call that? Masoor, those reddish pulses. Masoor. No, if you eat and die within 7 days, you are sure to go to hell. If 7 days pass by, then well, because they incite your carnal passions. All these, there are a lot of things. Let us not detract ourselves, you see, from these things. In short, Brahmins are like that. They are real Puritans, you may call them. And they are considered to be in India as the highest caste and all that. They are priests of India. So what had happened is, But he was young, a bachelor, good businessman, flourishing in business and everything, and he would come very often to Baba. And he would sing songs in praise of the Lord. He had a good voice, and he would use his instrument, that one string instrument, and he would sing out. And Baba would enjoy and this, and he would be there for a day and go back to his business. One day, while we were preparing for new life, he came to Meherabad. Baba was there in the afternoon, and he came, and it was not usual for him to come so late. He would come in the morning and then go back by the evening. So what happened, he came one afternoon, and he fell prostrate before him. And he said to him, Baba, I'm fed up of my life. I beg of you to keep me now forever by your side. I want God, and I want to live with you. Baba said, what has happened to you? What happened to your business and all that? He says, everything is fine, nothing is wrong, but I have had enough of all this. What I want is God and to be with you. Baba says, I am so well pleased to hear this. People come for children, for good wives, good husbands, for jobs, curing the sick, curing the ailment, this, that, and all. But nobody comes for God, and you have come for God, and to live with me. I'm very happy. But now that you say that you want to live with me, you have to obey me, because whosoever lives with me will have to carry out any orders that I give. You must obey me. So I'm determined to obey you. Of course, I know it. I know you. Think twice before you say that. You have to obey. Just keep quiet and think over it. Go out and think over it, and then come back. So it's there. He's kept in a corner. He's thinking of, and Baba is engaged in other conversation and all that. After a while, he turns to him. Well, what have you thought of? Are you determined to obey me? He says, yes, I am determined. There's nothing to think about it. I am determined to obey you. I know that's the requirement. He used to come very often. His boss says, all right, then, come close, come close, sit. Look, I will give you only 3 orders to obey. You have to carry them out. He says, yes, Baba, I'm ready to obey. You'll obey. You'll carry out? He says, yes. Well, he says, you have been a vegetarian now throughout your life. He says, yes, Baba, I'm Brahmin by caste, and I'm a vegetarian. Yeah. So he says, stop being a vegetarian. Now you have to eat anything that comes to you. Don't restrict yourself with vegetarian food. Eat fowl, fish, meat, eggs, anything and everything. On the contrary, I would want you to indulge in these things. But very hesitantly says, he had never heard spirituality to be like this. So he says, all right, Baba. Yeah. So this is first order. Second order is, of course, you don't drink. He says, no, I don't touch a drop of liquor or anything. He says, now I order you to drink as much as you can. Indulge in drinks. Drink hard liquor, anything, any wine or anything of the sort. Now he, apart from hesitation, there is rebellion, you see. He says, Baba, but I really want God realization. I want to be with you. I am really serious. I says, yeah, I'm serious too. But there is prohibition, Baba. How is it possible for me now? Baba says, I forgot about that there is prohibition. Right. But is there anybody here who takes liquor? Nariman, Merji, Sarosh were there, you see, you take. Unfortunately, at that time, Marshall was not there. Otherwise, he would have stood up, you see, to draw Baba's attention. So he says, there, how do you all get your drinks? Baba, we obtain permits, and it lasts for a year, and we are permitted to have permits, and we can go and buy bottles. Anybody can get a permit? Says, yeah, anybody who applies for it will get. Can you apply for him and get it? Says, yeah, we can. He has to pay a little fee. Baba says, you see that he gets a permit. So, well, that problem is solved. So, you can eat everything and you have to drink. That's the second order. And third order is the last one now. And that is that you have not to restrict yourself to be a bachelor. On the contrary, I would like you to be free, get married to a woman or anything. Or I would rather prefer that you visit brothels and enjoy your life. This now was too much. That, as you all call it, blew his top off. And he said that he thought that Baba is just fooling him and taking him lightly and teasing him for his request for God realization, because he thinks that Baba knows that he's unworthy of it all. That's how he's taking. So he again pleads and implores Baba, Baba, take me seriously. Don't play with me. I know your ways. You have been playing with us all the time. But this is serious. I am really sincere in my request. I plead. I want to live with you. But Baba says, I am serious with you. I am really very serious. And I am trying to tell you that if you carry these three orders, you will get what you want. And then again there is a little tussle and tug of war, and Baba is trying to be very loving and generous to him by trying to comfort him and cajole him into accepting these things, you see. And he doesn't. And he thinks that Baba is fooling with him and taking him lightly. So I was the interpreter of the board. He used to use the board at the time. So Baba with his board and turns to me and says, it's not in his fate. I'm giving God, on a gold platter, and he's refusing. And he looked at me, and the thoughts that passed by my mind is surely, what a fool he is. I get not only good food and wine and women, and God too, on a golden platter, It's like, what a person. I just kept quiet and I said, well, when will he get some sense? I don't know. Suppose if he were to say yes, what is there in that? It's all forgotten. But he was adamant, and Baba was adamant, that this is the thing, that you want to obey and you want God, isn't it? So do these things. And you want to live with me, so you must obey. Carry out these things. No, he says, no, you are fooling with me, you are playing with me, you play like that as if I'm not worthy of God. No, Baba says, no, nothing happened, so Baba ignored him. And he carried on with his work. If the important work was that we are going out in new life, you see. So many things are to be discussed and debated and all that. So after a while, the compassionate Lord turns to him and says, you are still here? So Baba, please accept me. I have come with sincere prayers. All right. All right. Will you do one thing? Will you be able to leave your business for some time and go out on a pilgrimage throughout the country on foot? Yes, Baba. That is spiritual. That's wonderful.
That's his idea of spirituality.
Yeah, that is spiritual idea of the whole world. Spirituality is that. You go on foot, naked feet, no chappals and no thing. You have to bear hardships, wander in the sun, barehead, without clothes and all that sort of thing. But you are a good singer. While you are on pilgrimage, you'll take your string instrument and sing bhajans. Yes. Will you do that? Says, yes. Wonderful. But you'll have to beg for your food. Yeah, you shouldn't touch money. I will do that. I can do it. All the way through, beg for your food and all that. Yes. All right. So now what you do? You have not to touch women too. Says, I will do that. He was so overjoyed that at last Baba has taken him seriously. So now Baba again repeats, well, what you have to do is, you have to go out on foot to all places of pilgrimages. Make a chart of it, an itinerary, proper itinerary, and sing devotional songs while you are walking. And then beg for your food, have no money, touch no money, touch no women. Will that be all right? He says, wonderful. Thank you very much. He says, when should I go? I says, as soon as you can make arrangements, you go. You can go now. He was so happy, he prostrated in front of Baba's feet and he went. Baba says, what about his fate? So he went. We forgot, of course, who is thinking about all these things? We have to think about ourselves. We are now leaving the world. We are also leaving the world, He is going on only on a pilgrimage. We have to leave the world now. So we are in the midst of that. So everything was forgotten. It was all gone. Years passed by. And you remember that Baba had sent us out, Penduan, to go out for touring the country. I told you that. So now is the time, after 3 years or so, we are now in the country. We are going and lecturing and talking things and about Baba's message of love and truth and all that. I happened to be in a hall one day and started, whatever came to my mouth, I spoke out, whatever Baba wanted it. And in the midst of that, I remembered, that man whom we left there, he belonged to this town. So I turned to my host and said, what has become of that? Has he returned from his pilgrimage? In the midst of that talk, I have that dirty habit of digressing. So he says, you please continue with your talk, I'll tell you later on. Oh, I see, yeah, I'm sorry. Then I continued with that. And then after about 10 minutes, a thought comes to my mind. Says, what the heck is it? He could have simply said yes or no. Why not? So again, my mind says, ask him, what's the matter? What has happened to him? Has he returned or not? That's all, yes or no. So I ask, calling out his name and says, what happened to him? Has he returned or not? So please don't take his name. You continue, I'll tell you after the whole thing. So again I went. And I was very peeved. I didn't like it. I had my own pride and self-respect. I was rebuffed and all this was there, you see. So I went on and I finished. Everything was over. And after all had dispersed, I said, hey, what's the matter with you? What harm would you do if you had to say, utter out what was it? Just to say yes or no? He says, you don't know what has happened to him? I said, what happened? We don't utter his name in the crowd, in society. He's excommunicated. I said, what? What do you mean by that, excommunicated? You don't utter his name in the society? He says, no good people should have his name on tongue. What happened? What has happened? You understand whom I am asking for? He says, yes, I know. He had gone out on a pilgrimage and all that. Baba had sent him. We know that. MeherBaba had sent him. No, he was a lover of MeherBaba. He says, yeah. He says, we don't talk. We don't take his name. What happened? See, he went all by himself and it was so good. When he returned, he was a changed person and all that. And we were very happy. We welcomed him. There was a big function receiving him back in business and all that. And then, after a while, something must have happened. We don't know what has happened. He started eating everything. He started drinking, became a drunkard. And then, worst of all is, he is having all the keeps with him. Strange women. And he's keeping, and he's having a sort of a brothel there. So I had no words to say anything. I knew what was behind the stage. What he wanted to get rid of from his lover. The lover thought himself to be too intelligent and wise. The compassionate one wanted to get the whole thing out of his system. If he had accepted it, yes, Baba, I'll do it. Even if he had, I feel, I don't know, he never told me anything about it. I feel even if he had accepted it and said, I will do it, just superficially, even that would have been enough to wipe off all the impressions that were about to surface now. It would have been burnt. But thinking himself to be too wise, such things happen. It happened in this life. Totally ruined. Of course it will be helpful later on another lifetime,
Well,
another lifetime.
He's still burning him off.
burning,
Only
yeah.
he could have done it in another way.
Yeah. Still burning. But yeah, it's smoldering. Yeah, there's no big fire about it. Okay, so this is tea time.
Same story, isn't it?
Jai Baba. So, just as you allow the barber to complete his job, and then he makes you look in the mirror and you see your figure, how beautiful you look, how handsome you look, and you admire yourself. So when you allow me to complete the work, then you'll see in the mirror of your own heart how handsome and how beautiful you are. But you have no patience. No, nothing of that sort.
There's no particular reason for that.
But there are braids that have been cut and all that sort of thing. There are in... Who has got them? Mortal Vijay has seen them, yeah. Yeah. We used to, when the tip of his hair would grow too, straggly or anything, so we'd chip it off. Preserve that little bit. The end part of it. If it is not too bushy or anything. Thins out, and when you grow older, naturally you don't have profuse hair growth. It becomes scanty then.
Did one of you always shave, Baba?
Not always. Sometimes you see in the train, while in the moving train, you see we are in the bathroom and Baba has a lot of growth there, and so Baba thinks of, or we encourage him, can I shave, Baba, now? You are coming to a big city now. Naturally, you have to be presentable. You can't. Nobody would want you to roam about with stubs and all that sort of thing. You need to be presentable, and especially we who took care of his body, we were very mindful that although he is incognito, he remains presentable to the world. So I said, now it's time, we'd like to, but then now we'll have to go to another city, and he says, still 3-4 hours in the train, the junction. This is all right, but the train is moving, you know how it is, erratic, So, will you shave? You might tell us to, so I used to shave, apply and all that. We had to be very careful. Safety razors were there. At the time we didn't have what you call your electric shavers, or the first shaver was a mechanical shaver that we got.
Wind up?
Winding. Have you seen that?
I had one.
You had one, yeah. Harry Kenmore had brought one for Baba. Then next trip he came and he brought for us all. That's how it was. Then what happened, Don Stevens came and he brought a battery shaver. That came for him.
Don's coming, right?
Yeah, he's coming on 11th. On 14th is his birthday, be careful. He sometimes becomes very fiery on his birthday. Yeah. So, he came and he gave that. For a long time it was there. That Baba gave it to me to use it later on.
It's in the
When
museum.
he had what?
It's in the museum now.
What? That battery shaver?
Yeah.
No, I've got it. I had it. How can that be? There must be an electric one must be there. So that's how it is. Then electric shaver came to him, then he gave away the battery to me. And then for years together I had the battery one, and then we were having a good talk one day, and we were reminded of the old days, and Don Stevens was sitting in my cabin. So I said, where is that shaver, Don said? I said, well, he gave it to me to shave and I got it. Well, why? So I thought that he would love to have it back. So I gave it to him. Have you heard the story of Rick's first experience in India? You heard that story the other day. Yeah. Just for one hair of Muhammad, upheavals. There was a war between India and Pakistan on that score, you see. Riots took place, you see, for a hair of Muhammad. Who is to possess it? Such is the qualification of the relic. It all depends how much attention you want to pay to it. But to me also it appears that if you are blessed to have him, relics have no meaning. When you miss of him, then relics are more important. Something to hang on to. A person who is almost about to be drowned in the sea and he tries to get hold of something. He can't get hold of water or any fish or anything else. Something. He tries to get hold of something in his desperation and he comes across a bush, a straw bush floating on the top. So he handles that. Even that for him is a lifesaver. So likewise, relics sometimes are like that. A man feels himself to be drowning and he wants something to hang on to. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a better possession than possessing your own body. Yeah.
Eruch, what was on the walls when Baba was in the body?
Here?
Were they just plain, nothing on the walls?
Not even the whitewash was there. The whiteness that you see there was not there at the time. It was very crude.
Just like bricks?
And no pictures were there.
No picture?
No pictures, except it came at a later stage after Linott came over here. He sent this picture, so Baba said, put it there. Then this portrait had come, all right, put it there. And that, so about his silence and love, somebody has sent that. We haven't traced that person yet. So Baba put it there. Here, all these pictures were not there, those pictures were not there, this chart was not there, that picture was not there, the picture with the leopards and all was not there. The last picture that Baba gave darshan, last 40 days before he dropped, was not there. Nothing was here. Not even the board or that what you call the cast of the legs, his feet. Nothing was there. No clocks were here. Nothing of that sort.
And what about on the floor? You have the rug?
This was nothing. No, it wasn't.
The blue rug even or nothing?
No, blue rug, that the end one, later on it came. Because, it seemed that quite often we would have sniffles and cold and all that, and so Gaver was very upset, and it fell to the lot of the doctors to take care of our health, because Baba wouldn't want us to be in his presence if we have cold or anything. So how is it possible for them not to catch cold? You ask them to sit on the cold flooring? Yeah. So there must be something. So then eventually this was done, manufactured in a jail nearby, near Meherabad. The prisoners did that. Of course, we paid for it. They didn't do free of charge or anything, sir. But it was good. Then that was not sufficient. So then this was there. The original is this. Before the carpets came, before that blue one came, this was done. You see? Why? Because we had a lot of tapes like that, and Gavar said at least for them to sit there. But then what happened, in spite of it, Baba says they catch cold. This is there. It's a cold thing. They come here with bare feet and then they stand. We have to stand before him. You can't just, Baba says, sit down. So we sit. You can't go and sit here. So we sit there. So then this was covered with blue dress. But it was so good in the beginning. It was not even stone flooring. It was just cow dung plaster. It was earth. Formerly, before the cow dung also was used. Cow dung we used to keep the dust settled. You plaster with cow dung.
That's what it was?
It was that.
Then what's underneath the carpet is?
Now it's the flagstone, called the stones that are used on the veranda there for the flooring. What do you call it? Flagstone, yeah. That came later stage because Harry Kenmore got wild one day on us. Because he was a blind doctor and he had to handle Baba's body and it's not possible for him to do it. What would happen is every now and then his foot would go in a little crack or what you call a pothole like thing, and he'll get a shock because his body need to be in proper alignment all the time. Chiropractor, I'm sorry, there's a chiropractor here. He's not here now. No, there is one here. Oh, he left. So it needs the body to be in total alignment, Slightest jerk cannot be tolerated by chiropractors. So that's how he got one day so wild, because he did get his foot into one of the big broad potholes that was there. Is this the way that you try to keep the body of the God-man and this and that? And he said, well, why don't you tell him? Don't tell us. He's the one who rules over us, you see. If he gives us the order, we'll do it. So that was the day when he complained to Baba, and this is not proper, and all this dust and this. So then Baba said, get it done. Get the stone flooring be done. So that's how we got the flagstones here.
No ticking clocks. Did Baba like the sound of a ticking clock?
He liked company always. He didn't like
company.
Monotony,
Well, that's monotonous, the sound of a ticking clock.
It's company, brother. You haven't been a forlorn person like him, who is all by himself and there's nobody else, you see. If you were to have that experience, none but himself, how would it be? So naturally he longs for company, even if it be any inanimate things, like clocks. Ticking of the clocks.
When did the quote from Tukaram go on?
Yeah, Tukaram's quote came at a later stage.
But Baba was still here?
Yeah, Baba was still here. It was he who made us put it on. Because there have been people who have been, as Tukaram says, the hypocrites, who are deluding people, innocent, guileless people, souls, you see, into believing that they are something. So they wear long hair and smear their bodies with ashes and all that, and lure people into believing that they are spiritual masters and all that. Some incidents did occur in the course of the Baba family, you see, trying to take up that garb and all that. So that's how Baba one day quoted that and said, put it there. Yeah, let it be for all visitors. No, there it is saying. There, what it says is that, I've forgotten now. What does it say is that on the streets you'll find many hypocrites wearing long hair, matted hair, and long beards, and smearing their bodies with ashes. But they are the hypocrites. They are the hypocrites. Their conscience is burned to ashes. And to thrash them with your shoes on the main street will not be a sin, says Tukaram. Yeah. So this incident led to that man, that Kumar, to create that uproar that has been created in Delhi. There was a person here who lived with us by name Krishna Ji. He was from South India and he came in search of a person who would love him, would bestow love upon him and all that. And he did come across Baba and he was so happy to be here. But he couldn't digest Baba's love, and so he was here for quite a few years, and then he left and he began to make himself appear as a perfect master. He even imitated Baba's silence, Baba's board. He even had an interpreter, a lady, and so forth. So what had happened is that Baba had taken a promise from Kumar. You know Kumar? Shatrughan Kumar, who comes and says, today is not to be seen here. He hasn't come here today. So Baba had taken a promise from him, never to raise his hand on anybody, because he was very free with his limbs, kicks and hands, He would just jump. He's a short person, but he has a lot of, there are two different things called courage and strength. You may have strength, but you may not have courage. Have you heard that difference? You have? Yeah. So he was a courageous person and a strong person. So although he is stunted, short, you jump and give a slap even to a person like Paul, you see, who had come with Kittrick. Like that. So people used to get frightened about him. So, and naturally there will be many scuffles and all sorts of things, complications. So one day Baba said, I tell you, you shouldn't hit anybody now. Don't raise your hand on anybody. So, like that. And he was oath bound not to hit anybody. And what happened is that, of course, he knew Krishnaji. We were all here like Mandali. Kumar would come and play with him and with us and this and that. And we, youngsters we were at the time, not old as you all see us now. We were energetic and all that. But this fellow started this new shop business of his. Spiritual shopping was being done. A shopping center. So he became a master, perfect master, and started imitating Baba and all this. Kumar couldn't tolerate that. And the moment he would hear such stories, and he housed himself in Delhi, very close to his home, and every now and then when he would go to Delhi, he would hear all the things, things will come in paper and all about him. So his blood started boiling, but he was helpless because he can't use it. He can't use his hands. So one day he had come over here, after this board was put, and he was sitting quietly here when Baba is not here, and he read. He never told anybody. He took Baba's leave and went straight to Delhi and accosted him and gave him such a thrashing, because Tukaram says that it's no sin to thrash such a person with your shoes. So he did that. That board did the trick. He was so that fellow, made a hue and cry, and in the Baba world, you see, Baba's people were so denounced, you see, that they were very formidable people, they were cruel, they closeted an innocent man and gave a beating to the man, and pamphlets were issued, newspaper items were there, and all sorts of things happened, you know that.
All because of this?
All because of this board. And Kumar couldn't resist beating him.
What did Baba say?
No, he was happy. Baba was happy. Maybe to draw his attention, it was put there. Who knows?
Did it ever have much effect?
Oh yes. But that effect was there, that eventually he was made to marry the girl whom he sported as his interpreter and all that, and many things happened. But then he reverted to his old habit, but he became a passive perfect master then, from a rather active one. Now he has been, I think there are news items, he's in the States now.
What's his name?
Krishnaji, the silent Baba. They call him Baba. In London he was there for quite a few years, known as in Hyde Park and all that. He would go there and sit there. There were news items. He was called as Baba, silent Baba. And then in America he is Krishnaji. But he has become now, these ships, treasure ships that have sunk? What do you call it?
Treasure ships.
Treasure hunters, yeah. So,
Treasure divers.
yeah, no, but there is a company set up,
Salvage company.
salvage company, and some people, you see, some or other, well, this man is a very tricky person, this Krishnaji, very sharp. So, he must have got hold of these people, you see, who are interested. And Americans are famous, you see, to be led away into believing anything, you see, and hidden treasures. Yeah. Yeah.
So are Indians, right?
Pardon?
So are Indians.
So are Indians?
Yeah.
Oh, Indians are very shrewd, sharp people, you see. They won't get led away by such people, Whereas these American gentlemen, they were led away by this man. They were made to believe that, well, he is the person who knows past, present and future. So what's there for him to find out where the treasure is and not? So he'd give all the indications and all that. And But the way that they did it was that they would show him the map and all that, and this is the right position, and this is how we feel, and so he would select, yeah, this is the right thing, go ahead. And they got hold of some treasure ship there. And then he has become an expert in trying to, not locate, apart from locating, but trying to assess the worth of the gems and stones and these things, and precious things. Masterworks, his chapter is given. This incident is given, being thrashed. How a master works, what the story that I told you, she has printed that. All those handbills and everything that is there, you see. So when this man became famous in the States, so these people who had engaged Krishnaji as their spiritual assessor, so they were, they took an affront for such a thing, and they, two and two put together, says, were you in India? So says, yes. Were you with Meher Baba? Says, yes. You are in Krishnaji, so this is Krishnaji. And so forth. So he denied that. So they went there to interrogate Ivy and says, why did you put it there? Well, it's an insult to our master, and his image is being tarnished like that, and you should do something. So then she wrote an SOS letter immediately over here to find out whether it's a fact or not. That's how she heard the report. So I had to write a long letter describing the whole episode, that it's a fact. So these things are there. They were active some years ago. I think 4 years ago, they had visited the center. Even Elizabeth knows that. We asked Elizabeth when she came. Kitty knows about it.
Well, this is... I like it when everybody gets quiet at the same time. Yeah. And you hear the clock ticking.
It's annoying to Ed. Ed gets very perturbed, you see, to hear the tick.
That's what it should be like with us. Remembering Baba.
That's how I use it.
While we are doing whatever we are doing, it's still ticking. The ticking hasn't stopped and will not stop. It's like that remembrance. It must go on. It will not stop. But when we stop for a while, we become aware of the remembrance that we have been remembering all the time, but we were not aware of it because we were so occupied. But the moment there is that silence,
it's like feeling the universal pulse.
Yeah.
Hearing it.
Does anybody know French over here?
je parle français.
You know?
Oui.
Please translate this in French.
Je n'écoutais pas dans l'anglais. I was not here. Je préfère ça.
Today is the birthday of Muhammad, the messenger of God. Happy birthday to you. It's known as Eid Milad.
Baba has so many birthdays. Yes, Christmas is a birthday, Gokulashtami is a birthday, Hindu birthday, Mohammedan birthday, Jewish birthday, Christian birthday, Gujarati birthday.
God is always being born.
You know, it's extraordinary. They say that there are still some people, a particular section of the people, a tribe, who celebrate Christmas on 25th February. And they calculate that Christmas really, Christ was born on 25th February. But other months
You have to take with you some package. Remember from me.
In another month, you know, their name. And that is why September instead of 7th is 9th, October instead of 8th goes to the... And so it is still 25th February. And these two, the Zoroastrians, according to the Zoroastrian calendar, because we don't have leap year, Zoroastrians don't have leap year. So every 4 years the date changes according to the English calendar. So we say, yes, I celebrated my birthday according to the Gujarati calendar, Gujarati date. So every 4 years it goes. So there was a time when Baba's birthday was celebrated on 18th February. Because by the time it came now, you will also see it somewhere in Mayor Journal or in some articles when you read about Baba's birthday celebrated on 18th February. It is because of that. Then Baba stopped it.
By the way, tomorrow, all the women from here, means Mera, Mani, Gave, Rano, and the rest, they'll be going. I think Kitty is also going.
Yes, to Meherabad.
To Meherabad for Baba's darshan.
And we are not visible in the afternoon. We come back late.
And when they come back late, but they won't be available. So the best is for you all to spend the whole day there at Meherabad tomorrow. Okay? They will be there at about 10:30, between 10:30 and 11 they will be there. I presume so. I cannot be sure with women's timing. Happy about it. He is always happy and such things.
Baba's time.
Not before 11 we can get.
Rano has clarified the time.
What is that
Either
time?
Baba's
She
time
says-
or man's, women's time or men's time or Baba's time.
Okay,
He says they'll be there when they're there.
that's the right time. Yeah.
Continue. If that had continued, if Baba had not said no more dates, the celebration of my birthday by any calendar except the date, the English calendar, 25th, but had we continued to do that, then 7th of February would be the day.
Would have been his birthday
Would have
in
been
1969.
1969.
Yes. In 1969, 7th February, when Baba's farm was covered, that day would have been his birthday. So, no, not the celebration. It helped me when I was reading to Baba, reading aloud storybooks, because then I could make the different voices and the different accents of the people who were characters in the book. But sometimes, when I speak Gujarati with the Mangli, it's quite different than when I speak Gujarati with Araba. I can't help it. It becomes automatic. So, it's good I was not giving a long story. Efraim, you speak French, no?
Muhammad's birthday money, and we try to remember him. And Sam will tell us a very good story of a happening in his life.
Could Sam come a little closer for those? You see, Sam has come on a camel. Please remember that.
Sam, when are you leaving? Sit there, sit there. When are you leaving?
Leaving about the 14th.
The Prophet, not Muhammad the man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Will a Sufi story be okay?
yeah. Anything. Yeah.
This morning there was some talk about Baba relics and all, and what importance one should give to these relics.
That's good.
So that reminded me of a story
Yeah.
of a man who used to follow a Sufi master.
Loudly. They can't hear you.
It's about a man who was a disciple of a Sufi master.
Don't you all feed him there in Meherabad? No, but there's, you can't hear. Somebody complained there. Yeah.
So, on one occasion it so happened that this man missed his master. The master must have left earlier than expected. So he now tried to follow where his master was. And as he was walking by, this was in a countryside, and he came across two old farmers who were working on their farm. And he approached them and he said, did you by any chance see such and such august personality going by? And they said, yes, of course, we did see him going. And that was the direction in which he went. And they said if you look properly, you could see his footsteps on the grass, where he has trod on the grass. And he looked at it and he says, oh yes, yes, there they are. And he bowed down and he plucked up that small strand of grass and he said, how fortunate you are that the feet of my master trod on you and all that. And he turned to these two farmers and he said, the small strand of grass is more important and has more value than you two put together. And the farmers didn't like this approach or anything like that. And
like John.
And there was a big fight between the three of them. They said, no, we are more important than this grass and all that. And then, while all this tussle and the fighting is going on, the master returned. And he asked his disciple, he says, what's going on over here? And he said, well, this is the thing. I was telling them that this strand of grass has more value because your feet trod on it. And then the master said, yes, that might be so. But then that is the only reason why you are all the time the seeker and never the finder. Because you are wasting your time on the strand of grass when the farmers had already pointed out the direction in which I had gone by. That is the story.
Tell them about Jafar.
Time.
Always like that.
Before that, I'll tell one story of Muhammad.
Oh, today it's your, it's in your religion. Today is a special day. Muhammad's birthday means.
It's Christmas.
He's a Sufi, you know.
Once upon a time, I read this book about beloved Baba's new life. And in that book, I came across certain incidents which made me feel, at least, that on those occasions, beloved Baba was all God and not a human being. Those occasions were when he would instruct some of his lovers to approach a total stranger in a city and ask for things which are absolutely, impossible. Things like asking for a first-class train fare. Things like asking that man to completely vacate his house so that Baba and his mandli could stay there. And 100 times out of 100, it worked out that the people actually did Baba's bidding without even having seen beloved Baba. They would vacate their house and give it to the mandli. People would agree to buy first-class train fares for him and the party and things like that.
Give camel and camel cart.
Yeah.
White horse.
Huh?
A white horse.
A white horse. 2 cows.
Demands which would appear very fantastic and ridiculous were all met with. So one could realize the tremendous authority with which those orders must have been given.
But I can't accept this without your accepting something. But we have nothing to give you. We have our old clothes. You should accept the old clothes and give us all these things. That is more fantastic. So you have marked that point there. That in exchange for the old clothes.
They wanted it.
No, they didn't want it. The stipulation was that we'll need all this. Well, we want it. But on condition that you must have something in exchange. And we have nothing to give you in exchange except our old clothes that we are going to discard. So you, I'm coming to that point. So then they said, it sounded very fantastic. You know? What's this? Asking for such big things and in exchange your old clothes. They thought that somebody in the party must be someone. Then he took me aside and says, well, in that bundle of old clothes, some clothes will be there of the leader of the party? I said, I can't say that. So I had to go back and ask Baba about it. So Baba said, yeah. He laughed and he said, all right, there will be one. Fine. Then he said, I'll give back all your old clothes properly washed and laundered. Baba said, no.
You gotta keep them.
They have to keep. Yeah. So that is more fantastic also. So
when I was reading this, this thought had flashed in my mind that these are the occasions when beloved Baba was all God and not human. And something similar happened in Muhammad's life, which also coincided with it, and where it was even stated that he was now using his divine authority. And the incident took place when Muhammad had yet to become well known in his community as the messenger of God. He was one day sitting relaxing against the wall of the Kaaba when a man approached in the market, and he started complaining to the people around that I am a merchant from such and such a place, and I have sold 40 camels to an individual by the name of Abu Jahal, who incidentally happened to be the uncle of Muhammad. And this man, he took my camels and he has not paid me the money. And now I am staying here in this place, Mecca, for 3-4 days. I have no money, and my staying here is adding to the expenses and all that. So is there anyone who could help me recover my money from this man, Abu Jahal? And the group of people to whom this merchant approached were very close friends of Abu Jahal, who was against Muhammad, though he was his paternal uncle. And they felt that this would be a very nice chance to make Muhammad look ridiculous, and it might even give them an opportunity to hammer him. So they said, do you see that man sitting there leaning against the wall? Approach him and he will help you out. So the merchant went to this man. He did not know who he was, and he explained the whole difficulty to him. And Muhammad said, come on, come with me. And the group of people who were Abu Jahal's friend and against Muhammad, they now started following these two at a little distance. Muhammad reached the house of Abu Jahal and knocked at the door. And Abu Jahal shouted from inside, who is it? And Muhammad said, I am Muhammad outside, open the door. And Abu Jahal opened the door. And his friends now felt that this would be the time to have fun and games with Muhammad. And Muhammad said to him, have you purchased 40 camels from this man? And Abu Jahal said, yes, I have. And is it true that you have not paid him this money for the last 3 days? And he said, yes, I have not paid him the money. So Muhammad said, now go inside, bring the money, and bring some more because of his expenses in Mecca. And like a bitten down cur, this man, Abu Jahal, went straight inside, brought out the money with the additional amount for his stay in Mecca, and handed it over to Muhammad. And Muhammad handed it over to the merchant, and he said, now go away, go back to your country. And Muhammad came back and sat down. And then the friends of Abu Jahal approached him and they said, what was wrong with you? We were thinking that you would beat him or you would at least ridicule him and all that, and you did nothing of the sort. And Abu Jahal said that, well, if at that moment we all of us were to be present together, I had no guts in me to oppose Muhammad. I don't know why, but I just could not oppose him. And I felt that this was the time when Muhammad was all divine. Jai Baba. There was a man by the name of Jafar who was born in Spain, Andalusia. And this Jafar, he was a genuine seeker of God. And one day a thought flashed in his mind that I must seek for a perfect master who could guide me on this path. Because he realized that there is no progress on this path unless through surrenderance at the feet of the master. And he also realized that normally masters are to be had only in the east. In the west you do not come across masters. So he traveled all the way from Spain to Mecca and all those places which were well known in those days as the hothouses of spirituality. And in Baghdad, one day as he was strolling by in the marketplace,